Hold on.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully y'all can hear us. We're always nervous about technology. So welcome to the pre-application webinar for the Home Investment Partnership Program. We are looking forward to this meeting and to applications and to working with you on using these federal funds. So I want to do a little introduction. JJ, if you want to go to the agenda real quick. We're going to do some introductions and then go through these items on the agenda. First of all, I'm Mike Ackerlow. I am the new Director of Housing and Community Development here at the county. I have been here since October, so just 4 months. My background, I used to be the Housing Director at Salt Lake City, then was the CEO of the Community Development Corporation of Utah, which is a nonprofit, and then came over here to the county as the new Housing Director. So really excited about this position, what we're going to be doing over the next several years, and look forward to working with all of you. And we've also been putting together a really great team, and I want to introduce them real quick. We have, first of all, Jennifer Jimenez, who is our operations manager for our division. So Jennifer works among all of our grants, both home and CDBG, ESG, all of our grant programs, oversees our fiscal operations, and really is kind of the glue that keeps us all together. And then I'd also like to introduce Kevin Austin, who is our new home housing section manager. And Kevin oversees the home funds, and he'll be guiding most of this presentation today. So I want to welcome Kevin as well. He just came from the Road Home, where he'd been there, I think, 13 years, working in all things housing at Road Home. So we're really assembling a great team here. We've been working on some new objectives, and you'll see that as we discuss these in the RFA today, where we're headed in terms of what we're looking for and the impact that we can make in our communities. So I want to take a moment and just do some quick, because it's kind of a small group, we thought we would just do some introductions of everyone on the phone or on the call so that we can, here on our end, know who is participating. So I'm going to go through and just call names. And then if you don't mind just telling us your name and who you're with, that would be fantastic. So Jenna, we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Jenna Seeley. I'm a finance manager with Utah Community Action.
Great. Sally.
Let me turn my video on real quick. Hi, everybody. My name is Sally Goodger. I'm the Grants and Compliance Coordinator over at Housing Connect, formerly the Housing Authority of the County of Salt Lake.
Great, Sally, thank you. Brandon.
Hi, I'm Brandon Vile. I'm the Grants Manager with South Valley Services.
Great, thank you. Philip.
Good morning. I'm Phil Keeve. I'm the grant coordinator out at West Valley City, specializing in home rehab.
Fantastic. Vance. Vance, are you there? All right, we'll skip Vance. We'll go to Sahil.
Hey there, my name is Sahil Oberoi. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with Utah Community Action.
Great. Troy. Troy Hart. All right, we'll go to Vance. Back to Vance. I saw your microphone off mute.
I'm Vance Woodward. I'm case manager and housing manager here at Utah Community Action.
Oh, great, thank you. Jonah.
Hi, my name is Jonah. I'm here also with Tyson. We're with J. Fisher Companies.
Great. Troy, are you there?
Yeah, this is Troy. Can you hear me now, Mike?
Yes, can hear you.
So Housing Connect consultant for real estate development at this point.
Fantastic.
Good seeing you.
Well, thank you all for coming, and we're going to get into it. So I'll turn the time over to Kevin.
Thanks, Mike. So we're thinking that this is going to be a pretty quick little overview as we go through. We'll show you RFAs, go through the home program overview, funding priorities and funding levels. Mike will talk to us about community housing development organizations. We'll also go over the application process, eligibility, scoring and evaluation, timeline, and then if you have any questions, we're asking you to keep those all till the end, and we'll leave some time at the end of this presentation to answer any questions. We are going to ask that if you have program specific questions, we'll show you how to do this, but maybe ask those through the portal that we will show you later on in this presentation. But if you have just general questions about the application or the timeline, then we can answer those at the end. So, home program overview. Home is designed to fund a wide range of activities, including building, buying for rental housing or owner-occupied housing. It's also the largest federal block grant to state and local governments designed to create affordable housing for households with low to moderate income. Some eligible activities that go along with home, building or rehabilitating housing for rental housing or ownership. And this can be for new developments or existing housing units that are already out in the community, and again is both for home ownership or those who are in rental housing. Home can also be used for tenant-based rental assistance. These are funds designated for households that are experiencing homelessness or are at risk for homelessness. All of these eligible beneficiaries need to be at or below 80% AMI. Included in the RFA, which we will glance at and will really encourage you all to read through pretty heavily later, but the income and AMI standards are included in the RFA. All home assisted rental projects must stay within home rental guidelines and limitations. These are posted by HUD each year, and we can provide those if you need some assistance with those, finding those as well. I shouldn't say home, I'm sorry. So the Salt Lake County Consortium Home Investment Partnership is comprised of all of these entities that you can see below. Forming a consortium is a way for local governments that would not otherwise qualify for funding to join with other units of local government to directly participate in the home investment partnership programs. Salt Lake County is the representative of the consortium, also known as the lead entity, and assumes overall responsibility for compliance with home program requirements. You can go to the next one, JJ. So for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, there's approximately $2.7 million that will be allocated. 1.2 million of the 2.7 will be dedicated for rental housing new development, and then 1.5 million will be directed for owner-occupied rehabilitation, rental housing rehabilitation, as well as tenant-based rental assistance programs. We are flying through this. So this is a big kind of shift within housing and community development with these funding priorities. For rental housing and rehabilitation, at least 20% of the total number of units are affordable to households at or below 50% of AMI. Renter or owner-occupied rehabilitations, we want these projects that focus on assisting low-income households with rehabilitation of their home, also at 80% or below AMI. For new construction, this is where the big shift is coming in with our office now. We are really trying to focus on permanent supportive housing, deeply affordable housing for seniors, as well as just deeply affordable housing. We are really focused on making as big of an impact as possible for households who are living in our community who might be experiencing homelessness, are at very close risk of experiencing homelessness, or at really moderate or low levels of income. And this is something that, since it's new to our priorities for this funding, we wanted to make sure that it was out there for everybody to know. If you are going to be applying through either of the two RFAs that we have released right now, focusing on those, especially the top 3 priorities for low and moderate income households, as well as affordable housing and permanent supportive housing that will give you a better chance of scoring higher. As we go through the scoring criteria, we can look at it, but those are really something that we're focusing on as housing and community development here with the county to, again, really make as big of an impact as possible on those experiencing homelessness or at risk of experiencing homelessness. And then again, for tenant-based rental assistance, again, we want to be serving households who are at risk of becoming homeless or are experiencing homelessness, as well as are at very low or moderate income levels. If you are going to be applying for tenant-based rental assistance, we are asking that you get a letter of support from the Salt Lake Valley Coalition to End Homelessness. And that is just an encouragement, it is not required, but that is something that we're asking for.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about.
Can I ask you a quick question on that one?
We're gonna, if you mind, we'll move questions up to the end. Thanks, Hill. Let's talk about CHOTOs real quick. So as part of our home allocation, we are asked to spend or to reserve at least 15% of our allocation for a community housing development organization. So we call them CHOTOs. It is required if you are a CHOTO that you are certified by the state. I believe you just do that through Daniel Herbert Voss at the state. He can help you with that. It requires that 1/3 of your board is at 80% or below area median income so that you have some representation on your board of the people that you're serving. So, so this 15%, we really want to get out to a CHOTO this year. This is what you can use the funding for. If you're a CHOTO, this 15% can be used to help finance the development of affordable housing, single-family home ownership units, or rental housing units. So as we talked about those 3 priorities, this is really where we'd love to focus with a CHOTO on providing some of that deeply affordable housing. If you apply and receive the 15%, you can also apply for up to 5% of our allocation to help in funding the operations of your organization. So here are these bullet points down here, what you can use those funds for. But it's it's really helpful. So if you're a CHOTO, to be able to get that kind of funding, and again, it's reserved. So if you're a CHOTO, it's very likely you would receive those funds if the project qualifies. And in addition, you could get another 5% to help run those operations. So we'd really encourage you, if you're a CHOTO, to apply for that. They do have to be separate applications. So when you apply, make sure that your 15% request for the development is separate from your 5% for operations. Put those both in as separate applications. I think that's it on CHOTOs. Anything else, JJ, that we need to cover? Okay, good.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. So another shift that we're making here in housing and community development is we are no longer using Zoom grants. For those of you who have gone through this application process before, this is a little bit of a change. We have decided that Zoom grants was a little bit too cumbersome, and so we're moving to using Smartsheet. That will be, or it is already located on our website, which is the link is completed there through the bottom. We will pull up the website and walk everybody through it again, but just for anybody who's gone through this process before, we are not in Zoom grants for this application. So don't look for it there, I guess. So beginning the application, you'll just visit the website. About halfway down the page, you scroll to where you'll see the link section and the resource section. This is going to include the RFAs, both RFAs. I probably should have hit it a little bit harder. There's 2 RFAs, so if you want to apply for both, you have to apply for both. Make sure you have that you understand those. It has the application checklists. It has the application cover sheets, as well as questions from applicants. We will go a little bit deeper in that, but like I was mentioning at the beginning of the presentation, for anybody who does have questions that are going to be project or program specific, you'll want to enter your questions in through that home Q&A link there that's included under the resources. These are just some screenshots of what the cover sheets look like. So as you can see at the top of each of them, it shows the Home New Development RFA 2024. The one on the right, Home TIBRA and Rehabilitation RFA. So again, make sure that if you're wanting to apply for one or the other, that you're applying for the correct one under the programs that or things that you would want to make sure that are based on eligible activities. And then this next slide shows what the application checklist looks like. This one is just for the new development RFA, so it's going to be similar but not exactly the same as the tenant-based rental assistance or the rehabilitation RFAs. So those are both included on the website, so this is just an example. And then also this is the Home RFA 2024 questions from applicants. This is where we are requesting all questions be coming in from. We will not, if you email either Jennifer or Mike or myself with questions, those are not going to get answered. They need to be submitted through this link here, through Smartsheet. We're hoping that will make our answers come in more efficient, and we'll make sure that we can get back to you in a much timely more manner as opposed if you're just going to email us directly. So please don't email us directly. So JJ is going to take us to the website.
We just want to make sure, we're going to do a little tour here so you can get familiar with this new process. You can see how this works.
So this is the Housing and Community Development website. This is where the RFAs are included. This gives a little brief overview of home, which we have kind of already gone through. But you can scroll down. So here's our links and resources tabs where you can click on those. That's how we get to the RFA, the application checklists, application cover sheets, as well as the questions from applicants. We really are encouraging everybody to go to our website to get to these links if you need more assistance. Again, since it's not going through Zoom grants, this is going to be the main way for you guys to access these applications and the cover sheets and the RFAs. So right here, this is going to be how you start your application. We'll go through it a little bit deeper, but after you really reviewed the RFA and gotten all your ducks in a row with all the attachments that are going to be needed, then you come and fill out this form, depending on if you're applying for new development or TIBRA and rehabilitation. It's pretty straightforward. Make sure and read through that everything is complete. We'll go through it in our scoring evaluation a little bit more, but this is just a good little overview of how you need to apply. And make sure, again, go to our websites. We are no longer in Zoom grants, and this is how all the applications need to be completed.
Yeah, and just a little reminder, please make sure you read the required form section along with the additional documents, because you will need to upload them with your application in order for it to be considered complete.
And we'll go over it in a second, but any application that's submitted that isn't complete will automatically just kind of be disqualified. Thanks, JJ. So as you're going through and putting together your application, it's very important to read through the RFA completely, making sure that you are applying for things that would be eligible for either of these projects. Review the application checklist for the RFA that you're responding to, so that you know that you have anything. Again, submit any questions that you might have, especially if they're project or program specific, through the questions from applicants tab on our website. Once you kind of have all of your ducks in a row and you're ready to apply, complete the application cover sheet. There is a box at the very bottom that we're looking at, where as you finish the cover sheet, you need to make sure and click the box that says attach files. And that's how you're going to make sure that you get all of the amendments included in your application, and how that will work is after you have clicked the select files or attach files button and submit the application, then Smartsheet is going to send you an email that will have a link where you can upload all of your documents that will be tied to your application. And then we'll hit this again, but as a reminder, all applications are due no later than 3 p.m. on Wednesday, February the 21st. And we will not be able to accept any late applications. And just as a quick eligibility overview, as part of the application, the HCD staff will be reviewing initial eligibility to make sure that there's everything included before it gets passed on to the Housing Trust Fund Advisory Committee and the Home Consortium. There will also be a risk analysis performed by HCD, just making sure that there is that funds will be obligated or spent by the deadline, as well as funds will risk of funds not being repaid to Salt Lake County. So applications will be ranked based on the criteria outlined in both of the RFAs. Salt Lake County Home Consortium allocation committee members will score up to 100 points based on the RFA, with the option for additional bonus points, and those are going to be outlined within the RFA too as well, so you can look at how those will be. Each section is going to be weighted to make the scoring criteria a little bit more objective, and we'll look at that in just a moment. For new development, the Housing Trust Fund Advisory Board will review the applications and make recommendations to the Home Consortium, and then the Home Consortium will make the final recommendations for the Council of Mayors, and then the final award amounts will be determined on the number of applications received and how well they meet the county's housing priorities, which we will go over as well. So here's just a kind of an overview. As you're looking, if the application exceeds expectations, they will receive an excellent or a 5. If there's good probability of success to achieve all the requirements in the RFA, there will be a good or 4. Acceptable means that there's a reasonable probability of success, but maybe doesn't meet all of the requirements that are outlined in the RFA, and that will be a 3. For 1 to 2 or poor, the application falls short of the expectations of the RFA, and unacceptable, the application completely misses on all of the RFA requirements. So this is how you can see the weighted examples. So for project narrative and capacity, it's a total of 25 points, but for like each question you can receive, they're weighted at 5. So how detailed and complete is the project summary? That can be just like the table we looked at before. If it's exceptional, then we'd be weighted at 5, and so on. And then same with the population served. If it's exceeding expectations or meeting expectations, then you would get 4 or 5 points for those, each one of those bullet points as well. Again, we will be sending these out. We'll send these this presentation out to really anybody who wants it, but especially everyone on this call. And it has easy access to the link to our website where you can access the RFA and everything that is needed to complete your application for these. Again, remember, there are 2 different RFAs, TBRA and rehabilitation, as well as new development. Again, these are no longer in Zoom grants. I know you heard me say it 30 times already, but if you've gone through this before, please go through the website to apply, because we are not putting any of these in Zoom grants.
And along with sending this presentation out, we will also post it on our website, the slides and the recording, within the next 3 days.
Thanks. So just quick timeline. Today's pre-application webinar. Final day to submit questions through the online portal from questions from applicants will be February 14th by 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All applications are due by February 21st at 3 p.m. Please note the 3 p.m. Any applications that are submitted late will not be accepted. So I would encourage everyone to be, if you're interested in applying, to be looking at this sooner rather than later, so that you make sure that we can get all of your answers, or answers to your questions. You're done in a timely manner, so you can make sure and get the application submitted by that deadline. March 6th is when the new development application presentations from applicants to the Housing Trust Fund Advisory Board and Home Consortium Board. We don't have a time yet, but when we do have that time, we'll make sure and let everyone know. For T-Burn rehabilitation application presentations, that'll happen on March 20th. Again, when we have times for those meetings, we will let everybody know. And then recommendations for both of these RFAs will be posted to our website on March 29th. And then one more plug, if you have questions that are program or project specific, please go to our website and scroll to the Home Q&A tab and click on that to post any of your specific questions. Please do not email or contact any county officers, employees, or selection committee members directly. They all need to be submitted online. If you do email someone directly, you will not be getting a response. I think that kind of ends our presentation. Sahil, I know that we talked about it a moment before you jumped on, but I'm curious what your question was a couple minutes ago.
So this won't be in Zoom grants, right, Kevin?
I didn't think we covered it quite enough. I thought I needed 1 or 2 more tabs on it, but no, this is not in Zoom grants. Go to our website. So.
Yeah, no, it's all good. The question I had was about I know that you said it isn't required, but it is suggested to get a letter from the coalition, Salt Lake Valley Coalition and Homelessness. Is there anyone in particular? I know that they have a bunch of subcommittees, but I'm just kind of wondering what's the thought behind that?
Let's see. I think, great question, Sahil. I'm trying to think of the person who you should reach out to there. If you go to their website, I don't know if they have a point of contact on their website.
Yeah, kind of each different committee will have, or core function group or whatever, will have a point of contact.
But I'm wondering if there's like a main point of contact for there that they could direct you or reach out to their co-chairs.
Okay. There are a bunch of hands. Maybe somebody knows the answer.
Mary T says, there's a form on their website, scroll all the way down. Thanks, Mary.
I guess my broader question, Mike, is like, do you want it from the housing subcommittee or do you want it from their general subcommittee? Like I'm over one of their subcommittees, so that's where I'm trying to figure out where we should guide this.
My guess is that they're going to have that any recommendations are going to come from the leadership.
Okay.
Mary just said Brooke Lockyer is the good point of contact there. Brooke is fantastic. My guess is that they would coordinate that among their leadership before they determine whether it's a co-chair. I know when I was on the coalition, they like to kind of keep responses to the main leadership, but I don't know if that's continued. Okay, so Mary says, ask for 2 weeks of lead time to get a letter. So it sounds like this. Go to their website, fill out their form, do it sooner than later if they're wanting 2 weeks. I think if you fill out their form, they'll get you the letter if it's either from their leadership or the office here or their co-chairs.
Thank you.
Is there somebody's hand up?
Any other questions? Wow, we did a great job.
Straightforward.
Well, I've actually got a couple questions if I could jump in.
Go for it.
So my first, and I apologize if this is me being incredibly dense, but I was wondering if you could walk me through how you get to the appendices that we're supposed to be submitting. I've been poking around and I have not seen any links or downloads to check those out.
Are they at the bottom of the RFAs?
Yes, but maybe my PDF just isn't working. Oh, I'm so sorry. There they are. See, this is me just being incredibly dense. Thank you.
You're fine.
Sorry about that. My next question, kind of jumping off Sahil on the letter of support from the coalition. I also noticed there was a request on the checklist to get letters of support if you have like supportive services or case managers. And Housing Connect runs a TBRA program with, I believe, 6 or 7 case management providers. So I just wanted to check in if you would want to see letters of support from each of those providers in addition to the letter from the coalition, or what would be most helpful for you guys to see on that.
You know, I think anything you can get helps your application. So we're going to kind of leave that up to you to determine how many organizations you want to reach out to. But, you know, as these committees look at the applications, it's always good for them to see that you have support from as many organizations as you can. So, you know, the more, the better, I think. Do what you can do, but I do think that really helps with an application to see that kind of support.
Great. Yeah, that's no problem. I just want to make sure we weren't giving you guys, you know, 8 different letters that you didn't want to see. So we'll track those down. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great questions.
Question from me, if you don't mind me jumping in as well. Previously, the application showed like the priorities of the county in order of rank. Is that no longer is that not something that's being done anymore?
Which RFA would you be talking about? Are you talking about new development, or are you talking about the TBRA rehabilitation?
TBRA rehabilitation. I mean, previously we there was kind of a ranking as to which of those was the higher priority, you know, between the 3 different options for eligible project types.
So, great question. I don't know if I have a great answer yet. We might have to get back to you on that one. Let me get back to you on that. That's a good question.
Okay. No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll post that on the website. Other questions from anybody?
Mike, just a quick question. Was the allocation that you all received from the county greater than the previous years for TBRA from the feds, or is it pretty stagnant?
No. So you know, the allocation this year, we're at 2.7, as we mentioned. Our home allocation will be about 1.8, actually from HUD. So that's what we're estimating. That could change, but that's what we're estimating right now. The additional funding that's coming into this RFA comes from program income and some funds that were returned. And so, and actually you raise a good point too, because if you're a CHOTO and you're looking for that 15%, that is based on the 1.8. So if you decide to put in an application for 15% of that amount, you want to base it on the 1.8, not the 2.7. But it's pretty much the same as what we've gotten in the past. And then I think we're breaking it down to that 1.5 for TBRA and the rehabilitation programs. So maybe we can explain that a little more in our responses, just to show that breakdown, what we're looking at. And again, these are just estimates, but we can include that in our response here in a few days.
Yeah, and in the RFA document, it does break down how much we estimate for each program. So I want to say maybe TBRA has about 800,000 that we're looking to allocate. Rental rehabilitation has about 420. So the document does provide those estimates, and they are estimates again, because it depends on who applies in the programs. So please review those documents online.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for attending today. We're excited about the application process, and we hope we hope it's smooth. We hope it works well. If you applied for the ARPA funding, if you did development using our ARPA funding, it's pretty much the same process. So it should be pretty easy. You may be familiar with it. We had to tweak it a bit for the home funds. But it should be pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure you do that application cover sheet, and fill out all that information and check the boxes. You'll need to do that to get the email to upload your documents. To reiterate Kevin's point, I would recommend that you don't try to submit at 2:50 on the day the applications are due, because inevitably there's sometimes there's technological difficulties. So we'd really recommend that you submit in advance, just so we don't bump up against that timeline, because once 3 o'clock hits, the applications are closed. A reminder that if you are a CHOTO, to please apply for the 15% and the 5% as separate applications. Any application, if you do on the TBRA side and the rehab, again, everything needs to be separate applications. So I think that is just kind of a reminder with that. We'll get this PowerPoint and the webinar posted within the next 3 days. And then
Mike, can I jump in with a quick question off what something you just said?
Yeah.
So the application we have to send you, and then we get an email to upload our documents.
Correct.
I'm assuming everything, including our uploading to the documents, needs to be done by 3, not just the application being submitted.
Correct.
And Smartsheets does have a 5-minute lag once you submit your application, and for them to send that email to include your attachments, there is about a 5-minute lag for you to receive that email. So please keep that in mind.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, and Jenna, great point. So again, a reminder, everything has to be submitted before 3. So give yourself the time to do that. Okay. Thanks for attending. And if you have any questions, please go to our website and post them, and we'll get those responded to. Thanks so much.
Thank you.